today, brothers and sisters. Reversed roles. Who is working today, brothers and sisters? The black woman. Who's making more money? The black woman. Who is more educated? The black woman. Whose world are we in? The white man's world. He allows in his world to put the woman in front. If the woman is in front, she's taken the role of who? The male. In the Bible and in the Quran, it says man is the maintainer of woman. But in the white man's kingdom, he reverses that which God has made nature for us and natural. He reverses our nature. And he puts the woman in front. He makes his society where she can go out and be employed. But when you come and ask for a job, oh, I'm sorry. You are overqualified, not qualified enough. We just gave the last job to another person. So your woman is out in front of you. She's working. She's bringing home the bread and butter. He's got her bamboozled because now, with a little money in her pocket, she starts getting a little heavy voice. With a little money in her pocket, her mouth is uncontrollable. What is she saying to you? Father? She's saying, I make the money in this house. I pay the cost to be the boss. If you don't like what I say, you know what to do. She's not seeing the bigger picture, the hidden hand. She's not seeing the hidden hand of the white man.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and this week, Donna Farrakhan Muhammad, the daughter of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, she gave a speech about the state of the black man and the black woman in America, or someone forwarded it to me. I don't know how long ago the speech was given. I have to go look that up, but it was really interesting. Miss Farrakhan Muhammad, Mrs. Farrakhan Muhammad, I'm not sure she's married. I have to look that up too. But she gave a speech that was pretty powerful, in which she basically said that the black man and the black woman have effectively reversed roles. That because of the structure of our society, because of the way black men are treated, many black men are emasculated to the point where their women are now wearing the pants and wearing the boots and bringing home the bacon and kind of running things, and it's wreaking havoc in our families. So to try to dig deeper into this, I reached out to a very good friend of mine, Mrs. Nomalanga Mushali Moses from Healthy Black Woman. How you doing today, Noma?
I'm doing great, boys. How are you?
I'm doing really well. What did you think about what Mrs. Farrakhan Muhammad was saying? I mean, did you think that there was any sort of truth to what she
You
was
know,
saying?
I found a lot of truth and logic in what she was saying. It's hard to deny, she's giving us a reason why it happened, but what is happening is undeniable. So
Mm,
you can maybe argue the reasons behind it, but certainly can't deny that. If you look at the statistics on unemployment, you're going to find that there's more unemployed black males than there are women. If you look at education and so forth, there's more black women in universities across America than anybody else, more than the white women, more than the Asian women, it's black women. So you can't deny those facts and those statistics. So now she's giving us a theory in terms of how we got to that place where the black woman is the one who's the most educated and the most empowered to perform well in the workplace.
Mm, interesting. Just so people know, Mrs. Farrakhan Muhammad is actually married to Leonard Muhammad. So just so people know that. But I agree with you. I think that it's one of those things where you know what the what is. The what comes from the why, right? And people who only see things on the surface, they only see the what. They respond to the what. But if you respond to the what without responding to the why, you're going to miss a large part of what's going on. You're only responding to the tip of the iceberg and not the iceberg itself. And the what is exactly what she said, exactly what a lot of people see, what a lot of black women are seeing, which is that black men collectively just aren't in the same place as black women. Black men are we have been emasculated by this economic system. We are the most likely to be unemployed. We are the most likely to be incarcerated. We are the most likely to not be in a position to take care of a wife and children. And that's the what. And so as a result, you see frustration. You see frustration from men, maybe depression, maybe alcoholism, just these effects of marginalization and mental illness that come from this experience. And you see frustration from women saying, I need a man. I need a man to protect me and to provide, and I need strength. And you're not giving me any of those things. So maybe if I watch Scandal and I do what Kerry Washington does, I can be a white man's mistress, and that'll make my life better because the white man has plenty of money. And that, right? I mean, that's kind of what ends up happening for some people, right? That's what happens, I think, to those who only see the what and who don't even try to understand the why. What do you think?
Well, I think that we watch Scandal to go try and get a white man is funny and it's a stretch. But I can see the thought process behind it. That obviously we're looking for alternatives to being with a black man because, unfortunately, for a lot of women, they've come from circumstances and they look around them and they see where a black man has disappointed the black women and the people in his family. So that can't be denied. I do agree that a lot of it is that what we talk a lot about, where it's institutionalized, where a black man will be the last to be hired, but will be the first to be fired. And again, if you have a family, that can be devastating for them. Where where a family, we're depending on mom and dad. Maybe mom has her role, dad has his role, and dad is disempowered to perform in his role, and he can't. So she made some very good points. If we're to go with her theory and accept it as the truth, then we would be able to see why a lot of black families struggle and fall apart. One of the things that I've known for a long time, and it's always, if you take, it's like marriage 101. The three things that can be a problem in your marriage are going to be a lack of proper communication, a lack of finances, or at least managing those finances properly, and then the third one is your intimate life. If that's a shambles, your marriage is also soon to follow. So now we look at the fact that this one hits right there where finances are. If a black man or any man can't provide for his family, that's bound to cause problems. And she's saying we're seeing a society where the women are up front and the men are in the back because they have no job. They try to get it, they don't get it. It's a frustrating situation for both of them. And then the women are the ones who end up being the providers, and then they feel like they're the protectors and they're the males. Because what do you need a man for if he's not providing and he's not protecting you?
Mm. Well, I think that first of all, I'm glad that Miss Donna, I'll call her that. I hope she doesn't mind. I'm very happy that she's speaking on this issue. I mean, she's an empowered speaker. She's one of the only female ministers in the Nation of Islam, and she comes from obviously extraordinary stock. And I think that when I hear this and I hear everything she's saying, I say that's right. I'm so glad you're speaking on this the question is, well, what's the solution and who's supposed to do something about it, right? We know that, just to make it simple, this is coming from white America, right? This is coming from white America's consistent effort to exterminate, emasculate, devastate black families. The best way to kill off a family is to kill off the male. We know this has always happened. It's going to continue to happen. It's not going to stop. So we know the white man ain't going to do nothing about this. We can complain and let him know, look, this is what you're doing to us, and this ain't right. And he's going to say, yeah, I'm doing it to you, and it ain't right. What are you going to do about it? That's pretty much what white America has done to black people. Is they've given us this 400-year dare. Like, okay, we're taking all your stuff. What you gonna do, right? Um, and so we know that the answer is not there. We know the answer might not lie with expecting black women to just accept things the way they are either, right? Women have needs, just like men have needs. So while we can expect black women to be patient and loyal and all these other things that we want women to be, right? At least I do. I think that patience and loyalty and respect and all these other things are necessary given what we're going through. Um, we can't expect that patience to last forever. We can't expect loyalty just under any circumstance, no matter how devastating or traumatic it might be, right? There is a point where it does make sense for that woman to say, "Oh gosh, I don't know if I can deal with this. I mean, there's nothing coming in here. Something's got to change," right? So, my argument is that the bulk of and the onus of this solution must fall on the back of the black man. And now the black woman can support him in his quest to find the solution, but we've got to figure this out ourselves. Because here's the thing: I remember when Malcolm X, one of his main bodyguards, was talking about, not the one who was spying and snitching. I'm talking about the one who was actually loyal. He started crying when he thought about when Malcolm X was here and what it was like when he left. And he said, what did it mean to you to be able to work with him? And he said, I loved it because I got a chance to be somebody. He said, because in America, they want to make black men remain little boys. They force us to remain little boys. And so when you see this, and you look at this against the backdrop of reality in this world, that nations conquer each other, people do horrible things to each other, they take things from other people without asking, countries invade other countries, like America just went to Iraq and took everything. um, in this world, the issue is that you can't go through life thinking that anybody's ever going to give you something because you asked for it or because you deserve it, right? Like, and I think with America, where we've been tricked, and this is where that illusion of inclusion comes into play. We've really been tricked into believing that we're part of the American family, right? If you think that you're part of the family and you think you're going to be treated like everybody else, then when dinner's served, you sit down with your fork and knife and you're ready to eat. And then you find out your plate is empty. Everybody else is eating filet mignon and you're getting the dog food. And then at some point, it's got to click to you that you're not a member of the family. They're not going to treat you the same. So if you want a piece of steak, you're going to have to take your fork, put it on somebody else's plate, and say, I'm getting me a piece whether you like it or not because I'm hungry and I deserve to eat. And that's really what I think the black man has to do. We just got to understand that these models that we've been taught of getting what we need by sort of thinking that if we go to these schools and we're polite and we're well behaved, that's going to get us where we want to get to, and it just doesn't work, right? Again, that's to use that analogy of the dinner table. It's like the person sitting at the dinner table and they've been told, no, 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 you're a member of the family. Don't cause any trouble. Just ask for a piece of meat and they'll give you a piece. So you ask politely and you're well behaved and you're patient, and they never feed you. And every time they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we ran out of food. We fed all the white people first, right? and, and there's a point where you have to literally, maybe you've got to be the person that maybe even flip the table over and say, no, if we're going to be a family, here's how things are going to go. So my belief is that when you talk about the black man and our relationship with the black woman and the black community in white America, there has to be something about us that takes us back to having pride in terms of saying, No, no, no. I have a family. I'm gonna provide for my family. I'm gonna make that happen no matter what. You earn your status as a man in this world. No one gives that to you. And I think that this is not. I don't think this is something that's really taught in a lot of black boys. It's certainly not taught in this white educational system that's miseducating and screwing up our kids, right? It's taught in the Nation of Islam. I think in the Nation of Islam, notice the men in the Nation of Islam. There's something special about them. They dress a certain way. They carry themselves a certain way. They speak a certain way. They conduct their business in a certain way. There is a pride and dignity that's been instilled in them that you're not going to get at the local elementary, middle, high school. And so I think we can learn from that. I'm going to stop talking and let you talk, but that's how I feel. I think it's time for us to really reshape how we see all of this.
As you were talking, I was thinking because you're saying, well, what is it going to take for us to restore, our families and our communities and so forth? And the key word I think is community. Because what you're saying is, okay, you're describing this whole scenario of how we can begin to take back our power, our dignity, and so forth. But at the same time, you're saying, okay, maybe it should start with the men. But the problem to begin with is there are no men, at least not real men. I shouldn't say there aren't any, but
Right.
certainly there's
The stock has been run
right,
somewhat
it's a
low in some
deficit.
cases.
And
Absolutely.
again, and there's many reasons why there's a deficit. So you're asking the men who haven't been brought up right, haven't been raised right, haven't had the right values instilled in them to be the ones to step up. And boys, I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen. At least not when they are just told, look, be a man. How? Can you show me? I've never seen one. All I grew up with was my mom and my grandma and my great grandma. And you're asking me to be a man. What does that mean? What does that look like? So that's a very, very tall order. However, if we spread it out over a community where we do have the men who have had the right things instilled in them, who have had the good role models, men like you, and we have those men be, teachers, role models and so forth, then we're talking about something where, hey, you know what, maybe my dad isn't around, but I know that I'm part of a community where there are some solid men. And what you described with the Nation of Islam is just a community. They're just a community.
Hmm.
And there are many forms of communities, whether it's your family, it's your neighborhood, or whatever it is. But how it comes back to us women is that we do have to be very diligent about seeking out men who will be good role models for our sons and our daughters. And again, you do that through a community. When I was growing up, there were sometimes young women who, got into trouble, as it was called at the time, and they ended up with a kid and without a father for that kid. It was almost obvious to every man around that young woman that they had to step up and be a role model and take that boy to the cattle post and learn how to farm and herd cattle. Take him with them to work to see that here are the possibilities for you. Give him a good whooping if he doesn't act right because he thinks that his mom is a pushover. And by the time they were done with him, he was almost no different than a boy who had grown up in a home with his father because they all stepped up and all realized that being part of this community means that no young man must be left behind. And unfortunately, we're seeing that happening in the reverse, where now the community is falling apart rather than building and coming together. So, if you ask me that question of how can we do this, I think it's restoring the community and understanding that it really does take a village. That's an old African, I don't know if it's a proverb or a saying, say it takes a village to raise a child. It absolutely does.
Hmm. Well, I agree with you. I don't have anything else to say, to be honest with you. I think that she's absolutely correct. I think the three major players in this drama, are white America, black men, and black women. And I don't think and white America has made their position very, very clear. We don't give a damn about you. We're not going to help you. It's not our job. We don't care. But we're also going to lie to you so that we can keep you defenseless and vulnerable, right? The best way for me to win.
Cheap labor. Don't forget cheap labor.
There you go, cheap labor too, right? The best way for me to win a war is to convince the victim that we're not in a war at all, right? And I can conquer you easiest if you let your guard down because you somehow think that we're friends, right? So, but these people, they're not our friends. I'm not saying that every white person is evil and hates black people,
No, not at
right?
all.
I want to make sure I make that clear, But systematically, this system that they support, that's not a friend to the black community. So we know what their position is. I think good, strong black women, I've noticed that they know how to pick good men, and they also know how to stand by good men. I think that, honestly, dealing with the damage that black men and black women go through in America, it does require patience. A black man, I've heard black men talk about their relationships with black women and the frustrations, and some of these quote unquote stereotypes, sometimes they're a little bit real in some of these relationships, and I just say to them, you know what, the black woman on average has been through a lot, and if you're committed to the black family, maybe that woman's not right, but pick you a good black woman because they're out there, and love a black woman, and be a little. It's okay to discriminate a little bit, in my opinion. I think it's meaning that, if I'm gonna get married, why not find a good black woman? The idea of sort of saying, oh, well, I can't find anything decent in my own community, so I'm going to go over here. Get out of here with that. So again, no disrespect to people who don't do it, but it's to say that, you can't abandon, you don't abandon your team just because they're not winning the game, right? That's when your loyalty is really tested, and so that's why I appreciate, women like Donna Farrakhan Muhammad, the many strong black women in the community who know what the black man goes through and who stand by their men. That is the backbone right now in the infrastructure, because unfortunately we do live in a society where black women are let through the door much more readily than black men. A lot of the reason that men are excluded is because white men see black men as a threat. Men naturally compete. Males compete, whether it's male gorillas or male elephants and male humans. They compete. So they're looking at your woman, and they're letting her work for him, or he's letting her work for him, in some cases because she's attractive to him, right? Or that gay black man. Gay black men actually do as well as white men in the workplace. Why? Because the white men are attracted to them, right? But they're not attracted to you if you're a big, strong, heterosexual male. They are afraid of you. And when they're afraid of you, they want to exclude you and hopefully exterminate you, or at the very least incarcerate you and marginalize you. That's their goal. Those are the objectives. So let's just make sure we're clear on this, that these people don't love you like they tell you that they do. And when you realize that, I mean, it's a kind of a depressing message to internalize. But I know when I realized that, when I realized, okay, I'm a black man, I'm going to go through some hell, it's going to be hard. I actually became less, angry at white people. I just sort of saw it as, okay, this is competition. You know what? I'm going to win. Right, I'm gonna fight you, and I don't need to shake your hand after the game is over, right? And I think when you sort of get to that space, it's a beautiful place. So I just encourage black men, find a way to be a man. There's stuff online, as you mentioned. I talk all the time online, and I'm constantly sharing with young guys, but there are other brilliant men out here that are really pushing, to help elevate the community. Let's not give up on our team. That's all I want to say on that. Thank you, Noma. Did you want to get the last word?
No, you said the right thing in the sense that, I think sometimes when we get into these conversations, people can get the wrong impression that talking a lot of negativity and hate and division and so forth. But I do want to, reemphasize that we're talking about institutionalized racism here. So you may meet some very polite, beautiful, wonderful people who are white people, and they are, but it doesn't change the fact that we're all in this system that is slanted away from us,
Right.
or against us. So that needs to be very clear. And even if you don't agree that not everybody's horrible, or you think they're horrible, or whatever, it doesn't change the system. And once you understand the system, then you have to outline your strategy and work it.
What is the good? I mean, people talk about, as you mentioned, they talk about, language being divisive and all this other stuff. What is the value of unity when unity for me means dealing with oppression? I don't want to be I don't want to be in a bad abusive marriage, right? And that's what white America is saying to you when you speak up about, the mistreatment of black people, and they say, "Oh, you're being divisive." Well, no, what you're saying to me then is that I need to seek out unity at the expense of my own dignity. Like, no, I don't want to be. I don't want to be unified. If unity means that I'm going to let you oppress me and step all over me and make me feel less than human, to hell with unity. Unity must have a foundation of integrity and decency to it. There's no decency in the American melting pot when it comes to black people. So to hell with unity. If you want unity, then give me some fairness and equity. Then we can come talk about unity. And that's exactly what the same rule would apply if you talk about an abusive marriage. The wife should say to the husband, if the husband says, "Well, honey, why would you want to get a divorce? That's divisive. You're breaking up our family." Then she turns to him and says, "Look, if you want unity, then treat me with some damn respect, and then maybe I'll think
Right.
about reunifying with you." And that's exactly what I. That's my thought on this. And I think it's okay. It's okay to be an angry black person. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about that, y'all. Everybody who's watching, be mad. There's a lot to be mad about. We need to get madder until we finally fix these problems. But thank you, Noma. I appreciate you
Thank
talking to me
you,
about
boy.
this. All right, and everybody, this is Nomalanga Mushali Moses from HealthyBlackWoman.com. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.